Today, we are reviewing the comprehensive service portfolio and website copy for MFMD.PT, a digital marketing and web engineering brand. Let's dive right into the feedback.
The material is technically incredibly strong, showcasing deep expertise in a massive array of digital disciplines, from Python scripting to technical SEO and generative AI.
Yeah, and because the source material reflects a high level of digital maturity and engineering prowess, the critique will be held to a very high standard, focusing on how to translate this technical brilliance into more persuasive, client-centric messaging.
Right. So starting with that first area, the social media optimization service page outlines excellent technical capabilities, but misses a vital opportunity to directly challenge a common misconception held by small and medium enterprises.
I'm glad you brought that up, because when we look at that page, we really have to consider the psychological reality of the average small business owner reading it.
Exactly.
The weakness is that the copy currently states that social media optimization is much more than just posting and goes far beyond sporadic publications. But this phrasing is too abstract and fails to target the visceral pain point of SMEs who mistakenly treat their social media platforms like a one-way digital flyer.
Yes, the digital flyer mistake, it's so common. They literally take a graphic that looks exactly like a printed PDF flyer, export it, and post it on Instagram or Facebook.
It's a completely passive broadcast mechanism.
Right, they treat their feeds like a bulletin board. Just, tacking up a digital flyer and waiting for foot traffic to wander by and read it. They completely miss the interactive community-building aspect of the platform.
And the issue with the current text is that when they hear phrases like far beyond sporadic publications, they likely nod along without actually recognizing their own behavior in that description.
Because the language is too academic.
Exactly. I mean, they don't see themselves as making sporadic publications. They just think they are doing normal social media marketing.
So the suggestion for improvement here is to explicitly call out the digital flyer mistake in the copy to demonstrate a deep, empathetic understanding of the client's current failing strategy, and then pivot to how this technical SMO service transforms that passive approach into an active sales tool.
By agitating that specific pain point, the copy actually educates the reader. It shows them that the brand understands their current operational flaws better than they do.
Which instantly positions the agency as the authority who can fix those flaws. It shifts the tone from a standard service description to a strategic intervention.
We really want to shock them out of their passive habits with direct confrontational empathy. Let's look at a few concrete examples of how to implement this pivot in the text, keeping in mind these are just a few out of many possible ways to solve the problem.
Sure.
Instead of writing, social media optimization is about much more than just posting, use a phrasing like, stop treating your social media like a digital flyer. We transform passive one-way feeds into active, community-driven sales ecosystems.
That immediately changes the entire dynamic of the page. It's punchy, it's direct, and it wakes the reader up.
It directly confronts the reality of how most SMEs handle social media.
Another concrete example would be when describing the interaction management pillar. The text could explicitly note that simply broadcasting your promotions is a mistake. We configure automated responses and strategic CTAs to capture the demand your digital flyers are currently wasting.
Oh, taking a highly technical service like configuring automated responses and framing it as the ultimate cure to their specific localized pain point is incredibly effective.
Right, because when a business owner is told that their digital flyers are actively wasting demand, it speaks directly to their underlying anxiety about low conversion rates. The core problem is the one-way nature of their communication, and this phrasing addresses it head-on.
And a third example, they could adjust the heading Organic Engagement and Brand Authority to something more provocative. A heading like Beyond the Digital Flyer, Engineering Real Social Engagement, instantly creates a pattern interrupt for the reader scrolling through the page.
By addressing the digital flyer mindset directly through those examples, the brand provides a masterclass in audience alignment. It stops being a theoretical discussion about optimization and becomes a practical solution to a daily operational mistake.
Absolutely. Moving on to the next major area. The overall messaging relies too heavily on standard marketing terminology that ends up masking the brand's unique, highly impressive engineering-first approach.
The technical depth is clearly the primary asset of this entire portfolio. I mean, looking through the source material, there are mentions of advanced caching environments like Redis and Varnish, Python cleanup software, generative AI models integrated via Zapier Central.
It's deep digital engineering.
Exactly. It's well beyond standard marketing agency work. But the psychological effect of generic jargon on a high-ticket buyer is detrimental.
The weakness here is that while the copy briefly mentions Web 5.0, digital engineering, and operational efficiency with Python, these massive differentiators are often buried under generic industry jargon like return on investment, organic visibility, or standard bulleted lists of services, making the brand sound like a standard agency rather than a specialized technical powerhouse.
Right. When a potential client reads phrases like return on investment or organic visibility, their brain essentially glosses over it. They mentally categorize the brand alongside every other marketing agency they have ever researched.
And when the Python scripts are hidden at the bottom of the page, the copy actively loses the technical buyer who is looking for exactly that level of sophistication.
In the tech and engineering spaces, showing is infinitely more powerful than telling.
So the suggestion for improvement is to elevate the engineering-first angle across all service pages by leading with specific, hard technical differentiators and proof-of-work metrics rather than hiding them at the bottom of the portfolio or inside nested paragraphs.
Because even if a client doesn't know how to write a Python script, they absolutely want to hire the person who does. Leading with deep technical competence builds an aura of supreme authority.
It tells the market that this isn't just a team installing WordPress templates. This is a team building custom digital infrastructure.
Let's give some concrete examples of how to fix this. On the SEO page, they could replace standard headings with specific technical claims.
Right.
Instead of a generic heading about organic reach, they could use something like algorithmic dominance through technical engineering. We don't just guess, we guarantee 90+ Google Lighthouse scores.
A 90+ Lighthouse score isn't just a vanity metric. It directly impacts cost per click, bounce rates, and organic ranking. When a technical agency guarantees that up front, it immediately separates them from competitors.
It translates a highly technical audit tool into a definitive promise of quality.
Another concrete example would be moving the incredible data point about using custom Python scripts to automate data collection and micro-target ad campaigns.
Yeah, that part is amazing.
Right now, it just sits at the bottom of the Web 5.0 page. It needs to be moved directly to the top of the digital advertising page as the primary hook.
Usually, agencies just rely on native Facebook or Google targeting algorithms, using custom Python scripts to scrape, clean, or structure proprietary data before feeding it to an ad algorithm is next-level sophistication.
Moving that to the top of the page tells the client, we aren't just adjusting bids on Google Ads. We are building custom software to outsmart your competitors' data collection. It completely repositions the service from a commodity to a proprietary methodology.
A third concrete example is on the web development page. The copy should spotlight specific, complex achievements as the primary hooks, rather than starting with generic text about attractive aesthetics.
They have massive proof points in the material, like the ERP web integration for Macarsor or the 1708 records IMTS database automation for INOVAM.
Leading with a 1708 records IMTS database automation is so specific and incredibly grounded in real-world engineering. Think about what that means for a business. It represents thousands of hours of manual entry saved.
It's an operational transformation. It shows scale, precision, and measurable impact right out of the gate.
Exactly. Okay, moving to the third major point. The presentation of the massive catalog of interconnected digital services creates a navigational burden that overwhelms the reader before they can make a purchasing decision.
This is a huge friction point. If a small business owner lands on the site, they likely don't know if they need DNS management, web accessibility compliance, or reCAPTCHA v3 enterprise protection.
No, they just know that their website is broken or that they have no leads coming in or their emails keep bouncing.
The weakness is that presenting everything from generative AI chatbots and subtitling to web hosting, DNS management, and image conversion in long, flat lists forces the user to self-diagnose their highly complex digital needs, which creates friction and choice paralysis.
You are essentially asking the user to be their own digital architect.
It's like walking into a doctor's office, being handed a list of 50 medical procedures and being asked to pick one. The patient doesn't want to choose between an MRI or a CT scan. They just want to say, "My knee hurts," and have the expert prescribe the solution.
Throwing an A to Z list at a user, even if the goal is to show the breadth of capabilities, completely halts their momentum. They freeze because they feel out of their depth.
So the suggestion for improvement is to restructure the service offerings into problem-based pathways that guide the client toward a solution, using the free diagnostic meeting as the primary structural funnel rather than asking them to check off specific technical boxes up front.
It's a much more empathetic way to design the user experience. It acknowledges that while the brand holds all the highly technical answers, the client only needs to know how to articulate their operational problems.
It's about taking the prospect by the hand and funneling them through an ascending ladder of trust. Let's look at concrete examples of how to do this.
The LASIV AZ service list could be grouped under client-centric problem statements. For example, group SEO, speed optimization, and analytics under a heading like, "I want to dominate search rankings."
And group generative AI, chatbots, and Python scripting under a heading like, "I need to automate my operations."
Grouping the services by problem statements speaks directly to the user's ultimate goal. It translates the deep technical features into immediate business benefits.
The user doesn't need to understand what a Python script does in this context. They just need to know they want to automate their operations, and they click that pathway.
Another concrete example to apply this to is the digital marketing services form. Currently, it asks users to manually select between highly specific items like basic SSL certificate, Recapture v3 Enterprise, and web accessibility optimization.
Which is wild for a prospect to fill out. Instead, the form should ask them about their business bottlenecks and direct them to the consultancy or free diagnostic meeting.
Because facing a checkbox for Recapture v3 Enterprise is guaranteed to make a non-technical prospect close the tab and walk away. Asking about their bottlenecks takes all the pressure off.
It shifts the dynamic entirely. The agency becomes the consultant who will figure out technical details for them during the diagnostic meeting. The goal of the website isn't to get them to buy an SSL certificate on the spot. It is to get them on a call where the agency can architect a comprehensive solution.
A third structural example would be creating a distinct start here flow that naturally ladders up from basic foundational services to advanced growth engines, rather than displaying them all as equal weights in the shop.
This flow could start with something accessible, like a domain and DNS audit, and eventually lead up to complex generative AI chatbots.
A start here flow provides a structured, logical pathway for the vast majority of users who simply don't know where to begin. It builds trust by ensuring the foundational elements of their digital presence are secure and optimized before trying to sell them a highly advanced automation integration.
It's smart, strategic architecture that mirrors how a real consulting relationship develops over time.
Exactly.
All right, to recap the main points of our critique, we explicitly address the need to challenge the SME digital flyer mindset in the social media copy to create visceral audience alignment. We discussed elevating the unique engineering-first angle by utilizing proof-of-work metrics rather than relying on standard marketing jargon. And finally, we outlined how to resolve choice paralysis by restructuring the massive service list into client-centric problem pathways.
And to summarize the actionable suggestions to implement, inject the digital flyer analogy directly into the SMO page to actively agitate the client's pain point and show that the agency deeply understands their passive posting habits. Next, move the most impressive technical data, like the custom Python scripts and the Lighthouse 90+ metrics, to the very top of the service pages to replace generic industry jargon, and decisively prove the brand's engineering prowess.
And lastly, categorize the service forms and menus by business goals and operational bottlenecks, driving users toward a diagnostic meeting rather than asking them to self-diagnose highly technical line items like reCAPTCHA integrations.
Those three core shifts will make a massive difference in how the market perceives the value of these services.
We invite you to implement these changes and submit your updated material back in for another critique.